Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lizard Brains podcast. I'm your host, DJ Allison Drini. I'm joined by my co-host, Tom O'Gorman. Tom, you got a lot of guitars behind you. How's it going?
I'm good. You know, I'm glad you noticed. Do you know what this one is?
Is that a Kiesel guitar?
That's my guitar. Yep.
Nice.
I'm at my brother's house. My brother plays guitar. He went through a huge phase, probably like a decade straight of like playing guitar a lot. He loved to just like learn guitar solos, make up solos, whatever. And he went on this guitar spree. And he's probably got, I'm trying to count. There's over a dozen. There's probably close to 24 guitars in his basement here.
Yeah.
But when I got this guitar in 2017 from Solo Nationals, I told my brother that I had won a guitar, and he's like, "What kind?" I said, "A Kiesel Carvin. It's gold, sparkle flake, and you know this is the model." And he's like, "What? That's my dream guitar!
Oh my God.
I have to play it. I have to play it." So I actually just loaned it to him, and it's been in his basement ever since. But
Nice.
I was like, I gotta have it as the background for my podcast today, of course.
Yeah, of course. Did you actually rearrange it, or did you rearrange yourself so the guitar was in the background?
No, I carried it across the room from over there, swapped it out.
Nice.
Dropped the other one on the floor. It's not worth anything.
Yeah,
this is the one that matters.
Yeah, look, that wasn't a Solo Nationals guitar, so that one's basically garbage. It's probably like a Gibson or something. I know nothing about guitars, so
I don't know either. I had no idea that Kiesel Carvin was such a big brand. And then when he learned about it, he like freaked out. He was like, "Oh my God, those are amazing guitars. That's my dream guitar."
Can you imagine for like Solo Nationals if we won like sim racing equipment or mountain bikes, or you got to name something for you, Tom? A jet ski?
A jet ski. Yeah. Solo National sponsored by Sea-Doo.
Oh, yes, please. Come on. Sea-Doo, I know you're listening to this podcast. There's no way you're not. Let's get a jet ski for like a gold flake jet ski for like top packs.
Yeah. They have that boat sponsor. I'll take a boat too.
Yeah.
Either.
You'll tow the jet ski with the boat. That's how that works, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
There's no way.
But anyway, on topic, I am okay. I'm dog sitting for my brother. I'm at his house all week. I gave the dogs their early dinner and they're in their little crates back there.
Okay.
It's good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I feel physically pretty good considering what Christine had me. I just followed Christine around the woods all week. That's what I did. We went on a hiking vacation in Shenandoah National Park, and we accomplished one of her goals, which was hiking Old Rag, which apparently National Geographic called the hike of the year for 2026 or something along those lines. Somebody in the Discord said something along those lines. I don't know how they're rating hikes or whatever, but Tom, it was freaking awesome. It was such a cool hike. The second half of it, kind of lame, but the first half of it, for like the peaks, like literally the peaks, but also like the emotional peaks, it was freaking awesome. It was so cool. So it's really, really, really uphill. It's 2,600 feet of elevation gain in like 4 miles, which I think is a lot. It felt like a lot. I guess the way down felt like a lot. Up, I actually felt pretty good, but the way down, my legs started turning into to noodles. And yeah, okay, so the last like mile of the trail is along the ridge of this mountain. So when you look left, you just see a view, and you look right and it's just a giant view. And so like you get different views depending on which way you look, and you're scrambling up there's like rocks that you kind of have to, like, it's not like rock climbing where you need like ropes and stuff like that, but you have to climb over rocks. So like you have to like find handholds and like get your feet in certain spots and like hoist yourself and like twist yourself like around rocks and stuff like that. And it felt like little puzzles to figure out of like, okay, let's see, if I get my hand here and start with my left hand and then I can get my right hand over here. I just found that very satisfying without the pain of rock climbing. I don't know if you've ever been rock climbing before, but your just hands hurt like crazy after like trying to do rock climbing. And that was, Matt Martin says, no one tell DJ about rock climbing. Trust me, Matt, I've tried it. My hands just, they only hurt for the first few times. Okay, well, I don't know how much lizarding I can do on all these lizard activities. I kind of can't lizard too. The lizard needs to be focused. I can't be like a shotgun blast of effort. But I found it very satisfying of like solving puzzles. And it was physical and just I don't know, it was really entertaining. And if you're able to, Old Rag was a badass hike. You should go do it.
That's cool. I remember the exact same from the Alps last year, that up really wasn't that bad. You're huffing and puffing and whatever, but it's like not hard. And then on the way down, you're like, I want this to be done. My feet hurt. My feet hurt. My feet hurt. You're trying to like step softer and
Dude, it wasn't my feet. It was my knees. My knees just give out. There's like, it feels like the front of my knee gets tired. And then after tired, it just hurts. So you're just taking these little baby steps because you like on the way down, you're like stabilizing, like the foot that's left behind you is stabilizing where your next foot lands. And that like lowering yourself into your forward foot is just over and over and over again. It just wears on you. So at some point there's a video on my Facebook of me just taking like 3-inch steps, and I am barely moving, Tom. And Christine, I'm so glad she didn't leave me behind on the trail, but I was struggling. And I kept joking around to Christine, oh, you ready to run? You ready to run? And then she would thankfully say no, because I don't think I could have ran, but I was trying to, stay positive and like, we can do anything. But really my legs were going, no, please stop. So, but it was fun. That part kind of sucked, but the rest of it was great.
Yeah, that's fair. I totally get that. I also remember I had just gotten in pretty good shape from working at the go-kart track, and one of my friends from that track loved rock climbing. And we went there as a little group. I think 4 of us went, and I had plenty of strength in everything but my hands to do it. And I had no hand strength, like no grip strength or endurance or anything. I was like, oh, this is not for me. I have like way too dainty of hands at this point.
I feel like I have dainty hands
This would
too.
take forever to get in shape.
Yeah, I feel like I have like little like dainty baby hands too. Like, does your dad
Good
just
for driving?
Yeah, it's great for driving. I barely need to hold the wheel anyways. Yes, pinky's out, barely hold the wheel. That's all you should be doing anyways. Does your dad have, I have this like running theory that like as generations go on, we all just get like daintier and daintier hands, because I feel like my dad's hands look like they could smash rocks. And they probably could just by like squeezing them. They just look like vice grips. And my hands are nothing like his. And I feel like there's like almost like a meme of dad hands. Are your dad's hands stronger than your hands? I don't know how you would know that, but I know that for sure.
I don't know how I would know. No, but I think it just depends on what you do in life, because my dad was an IT guy. He has IT guy hands. I mean, he's like, he does carpentry and like renovations on houses now and stuff.
You hear that, Mr. O'Gorman? Rooms. IT hands. You just got called out. That's, you know what? We need to see like a thumb wrestle between Baby O'Gorman here and Mr. O'Gorman. And you're Baby O'Gorman. I don't know if you caught the context of that, but
Baby O'Gorman is my brother.
Okay, you're Middle O'Gorman.
Yeah, I'm just right. I'm the Goldilocks.
Oh, the Goldilocks O'Gorman. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
Anthony says there's more correlation between dads and calves. I think that might be true. Remember the show Scrubs? It was like a running joke that the head doctor, the head of the hospital, had crazy good calves.
No, I don't remember that at all.
Did you watch that show? That was such a good show.
I saw a couple episodes.
Sure. It was always on when I got home from school, but it was like a running joke. The old man who was in charge of the hospital had these incredible calves, and he would always show them off.
I'm going to have to check out my dad's calves next time, Anthony, but I don't know if I've really paid attention to them. So,
because there's a lot of miles on them legs. That's why.
Yeah, maybe my dad can tune it or chime in and let me know what the calf situation is. But I feel like they're probably similar to my calves, which, he's 66, so maybe that's pretty good if he has the same calves as a 38-year-old. So,
I think it's unfortunate. The only thing you get from race car driving, really, if you're race car driving, is a fat neck.
Yeah, you look a little.
And no one really looks great with a fat neck.
No, you look kind of weird. Honestly, yeah, we're building weird bodies over here. And then also like sitting for long periods of time is just really bad for you. And you're just doing that all the time. It's just we just get like ripped necks and then like bad posture. That's what we're aiming for. Yeah. Oh, and dainty hands.
Damn. We're the weakest of the pack, but we're athletes.
Sure. We are definitely athletes. Our hearts are strong. Like they are really good at pumping blood, but it's just they're pumping blood to our necks and our brains. That's about it. Like nothing else is happening.
There's this ridiculous picture of Charles Leclerc walking with his girlfriend, lady wife person, and her wife is the same in the picture diameter as his neck, like as they're walking towards the camera.
Dude, honestly, like I remember when Max Verstappen first started in F1, and he's just a little scrawny like teenager. He's only like 17 years old or whatever. But like even at 17, like he looks like a 17-year-old, like tall and lengthy, but then his neck is like a tree trunk at like 17 years old.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we don't even need those necks.
No.
But
I don't think I have that muscular of a neck. Our necks are kind of similar, I think.
You don't need that for autocrossing. Actually, it's better to have a skinny neck for autocrossing. Saves weight. More
aerodynamic for sure.
Right, for sure. Especially in open cockpit cars, you're so much faster.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, I'm glad you had fun on your vacation. That's fun. Was this a last minute plan because of one lap getting canceled? You guys popped this into your schedule or something?
Yeah, basically, I kind of inadvertently had Christine rooting against one lap because I was like, well, if I get those extra vacation days, I'll be able to go to Shenandoah with you. And I could see her. She was like, oh no, hopefully one lap happens. And then it gets canceled and she's in the background going, yes.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's the picture of Charles Leclerc. You can see it. He's obviously in front of her, so it's a little bit funky. Anyway, I commentated the Super Tour from Watkins Glen this weekend. Well, I commentated it from right here, and it was at Watkins Glen.
How did it go?
And it was great for the most part, except it was even worse than, remember the last time I talked about a Super Tour, it was after Road America, and I talked about how like the track doesn't give you any leeway anymore.
Yeah.
Watkins Glen was even worse. It was so bad, in fact, that I texted Adam Jabay after we were done and just said, like, here's what I saw from this weekend. Just a heads up. Like, I hope that this goes better for you guys. And I'm sure that they like meet with the track and everything, but it was so bad for like organizationally. We only had 2 races of the 16 without full course yellows. And it was because every little thing that needed anything on the racetrack meant that they put the full course yellow, safety car goes out. They also would not release safety vehicles onto the track until the whole field had caught the pace car. So like you can't even have a car on the other end of the track that's unpaced before we go out and then get out of the trucks and go help the person doing, like, there was a car had a flat tire and came to a stop like next to the racetrack, and there was still 9 minutes left and we didn't go back to green.
Yep.
Because there were like cars all over the racetrack. They took forever to catch up, of course, and get all together. And then by the time there was like 3 minutes left, the SCCA people decided to pull the plug and not do the finish, because they also started doing this thing. The only part of it that's the SCCA's like fault that I don't love is they will not do a single lap finish. Like they won't do like a green checkered.
Yeah.
They say they want to do a green white checker to give everybody 2 laps. And if there's not time for 2 laps, they just don't go back to green. I don't really agree with that. But everything else is like the track just won't. The track will not. And then it's like we were joking all weekend in production. Obviously, we can see the cameras, and there's just like a meeting of the minds for like 5 or 6 trucks that show up to like the smallest thing. And then they're all standing around. It's like a construction site. And then there's like maybe one person doing something, and then they all break and all 6 trucks drive away. It's like, oh my God. That sucks. For the people going for in a month in grid life, the advice I would give is if you're on the racetrack and it goes yellow, catch the cars in front of you as fast as fucking possible, because they will not do anything until everybody's caught the pace car. And then also, like, if you can, like those orange cutouts that they've started talking about, like I didn't really notice them until I raced in IMSA, and IMSA was always really, really detailed on pointing out like where they are. Here's a track map of them. This is the expectation. If you have a mechanical issue, you're supposed to disappear behind one of these orange cutouts that's on every major racetrack now. And I think that club racers are a little more, they're not trained as well, and they also can maybe be a little more selfish in a way. Like, I'm going to get back to the pits, or I'm going to like keep driving. I don't see pro drivers do that nearly as much. I think they're a little more quick to like pull off the racetrack.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
that's not fair judgment, but that's kind of my impression anyway. And I don't think club racers are as trained to disappear like that. Disappear behind the wall. Like, you're not going to make it. You're not going to get back. Everyone's waiting on you. You're messing up the whole event. Like, figure out a way to disappear behind one of those, because otherwise it's just going to be a caution fest all weekend.
you do a good job of this, and I think my running theory is it's a bandwidth thing, because you'll notice something's wrong with the car before it's too late to have like a cutout as an option, and you'll quickly troubleshoot that your race is over and that you need to get behind a wall, right? I think the people that get stuck out on the track, either it's an absolutely catastrophic thing and there's no cutout nearby and they literally never had a chance, or they recognize it too late and then they can't coast into one of those orange spots. But
Yeah.
you're really good at, can you think of a race where you interrupted because you were broken on the side?
Yeah, I've become good. I think it's because of the train. I mean, it's because of advice that I've gotten in professional drivers meetings, to be honest, is the way that I've come to behave. But in grid life, actually, in early GLTC, I was racing a car for fun in 2019 Road America, and the shift linkage popped off the car coming out of turn 8. Nope, coming out of the carousel. And by the time I processed what had happened and like gotten out of everyone's way, I had missed turning into the bend. So, and I was out of drive. Like, I could not get, there was no gear in the car. So I was basically coming to a stop.
You were coasting. Gotcha.
I was coasting and I came to a stop just after the kink, which is like, there's nowhere to go.
Oh,
So I pulled
dang.
all the way up against the wall. And unfortunately, I made the bat. At the time, it seemed like the right call. I was like, I don't want to be sitting in a car stationary in the impact zone on the outside of the kink. So I like got out of the car and hopped over the fence, which was like the wrong thing to do. That was the last time I think I really messed up.
Yeah. But I mean, okay, that's an example of it literally happens to everyone. I'm thinking of even my crash at Road America, I still found like a cutout spot, and the car was crabbing, but I still like put my car into a spot. I didn't realize that Katil had a totaled car behind me, but
Yeah.
like even after I was wrecked, I was like, well, I'm gonna like figure out a way for this race not to be over, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of curious, like, where are people's brains on that when something's like broken on the car? Because yeah, like what instantly flashes into my head is I don't want to be the reason why the party stops. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I'm just wondering if the people who do get stranded out, if it's like a habitual thing, like if you find yourself always stranded out on the track and like interrupting the session, then like, I don't know, maybe there's some blame to be played there. You can't be the most unlucky person ever. You know what I mean?
You just cut out. What was the last bit?
Oh, what's the last part you heard?
That you can't be broken and stuck for every time.
Yeah, that would be the most unlucky thing ever, right? Like that just wouldn't. It's
for
not
sure.
going to happen every time, right? So,
Right.
But it's interesting. So you brought up like you noticed that pro racing doesn't happen as much. That's why I think it might be a bandwidth thing.
Yeah, it's probably also the cars aren't as broken as
That's
often.
true.
Like, they're brand new, nicely homologated race cars.
If it's broken, it's like limping. It's not like broken.
Right. Or it's wrecked,
Yeah.
it's fully broken. But otherwise, I mean, yeah, that was a lot of it. It was a little bit exhausting to like, after, like I said, we did 16 races this way and only 2 of them. It took until the second day of racing to get a clean, like full green to checkered race. So it gets a little like when you're, no matter who you are in that situation, every single time something like that pops up, you're like, oh, car's broken. We'll probably go into full course yellow. Like, I
Yeah.
guarantee you, every driver, every person operating the event, every person
Was like,
in
"God."
production, all of us are just like, God.
Yeah.
Which made me think, like, at what point do we just stop going to these racetracks? Like, that would be in a way, it would be sad to like not go to Road Atlanta and VIR and Road America and Watkins Glen. But if they're not conducive for club racing, why go? Am I off base with that, you think? Like I compare it to like Hallett. We went to Hallett, which is a really, really nice club track.
Yep.
And they did hot poles when it was appropriate. They kept the races green as much as possible. It was some of the best quality of track time that I've seen. And then we go to these big tracks that are supposed to be a big deal, and you drive around under yellow because they won't let you do anything,
I
which is
mean,
like such a boomer take in a way. But I'm like, why
it,
not go to Hallett twice instead of Watkins Glen if it's just a waste of everyone's time?
it does kind of detract the value of these like pinnacle of American racing racetracks, right? If that's like what keeps happening, then yeah, I don't. It does kind of make it less appealing, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of an equivalent. Like, what happens if every time at Solo National someone hits a cone, the airport charges like $2 because it might leave debris on the site or something? Like, at some point, we just don't go back because that's ridiculous.
Or like for some reason the airport has a policy where if a cone's hit and a course worker needs to run out there, you hold the start until the cone is up and the course worker's back at like their spot. It would make the event run so much slower to the point where you're like, well, this awesome venue to hold this event is now a little less valuable because of like the restrictions in place. But going back to our conversation that we had the last time we were talking about this, Tom, a lot of the times they have that policy because somebody got hurt or it's like an employee retention method. It's because if the employees are feeling scared when they're out there because like maybe they should be scared, or maybe they're scared from a situation where they should have, and it's hard for them to understand the differences being trackside of people who are in control of their cars and people who aren't, right? I kind of get it. Maybe what the solution should be, if it's just like mechanicals happening on cars, is maybe there should be more penalties for, which I guess having a mechanical in car is probably penalty enough. But if there's people that are regularly the issue with mechanicals in their cars, maybe they should be taking the responsibility for ruining everyone else's good times. And I'm not saying anybody that had a mechanical at this thing.
Say their names. I'm kidding.
What like was part of the issue, but I think a lot of the times when people have cars that are breaking, it tends to just kind of be the same people over and over and over again. So
maybe, yeah, I can think of examples for sure, but I'm also thinking back from this weekend, and it's like that one car broke down in that session and never else the rest of the weekend. The ones that were really frustrating were the crashes then, because it's like, but none of it's avoidable. All of it's going to happen. All of it's the realities of motorsports, and the part that's changed is the fact that they just respond by neutralizing everything immediately. Yeah. And it looks bad. It sucks because like even in the YouTube chat, there are people watching like SCCA sucks. I'm never even watching this again.
Yeah, but it's not even an
it's
SCCA
like, first
thing.
of all, yeah, first of all, who are you? Who cares? Go away, you know. But also at the same time, it's like makes us all look bad.
Yeah.
And it's no one's fault except for Watkins Glen's fault in this case, or in the previous case of Road America's fault, or in the past BIR's fault. It's like
It kind of,
that was the biggest downer of the weekend.
Yeah, it kind of goes against like the whole like let's make club racing look cool and like make people want to come out and do this thing. If the thing is interrupted by driving around slowly, the one majors or Super Tour, I don't even know what it was, but the big SCCA race that I went to, I should have gotten an hour of racing, and I think I raced for like 15 minutes. An hour between two races. And so I got 15 minutes between two races because people kept throwing themselves into the gravel trap or the wall in turn 5 at Road Atlanta. And then they would just like they would have to do a full course yellow. And then eventually like they would just have to like end the race. And then I got hardly any racing at the thing. And I didn't pay for that weekend, luckily. But if that's how I was spending my hard-earned money to like race for 15 minutes, I don't know. I might go find something else to do. Like Time Attack might start looking a lot more entertaining. Autocross might look a lot more entertaining for like what you spend and what you get, because you're not gonna like what you're gonna get when you go there. I'm gonna get set amount of runs and like this type of competition instead of I raced for 7 minutes and then a yellow came out and then my 25-minute race was over in like 10 minutes.
Right.
Yep.
Or you just gauge the tracks you go to. I mean, I think
Yeah,
the
maybe
biggest
that.
takeaway for me is if you're listening to this podcast as a driver and stuff, like consider that as a reality that as it is this way now, I think it just is this way. It's not as it gets worse. I think it's basically there with worse. uh like if you go to Road Atlanta or Watkins Glen or something, you might drive around under full course yellow a whole bunch. So maybe go to CMP and I don't know, Nelson Ledges instead.
Yeah.
I don't know which one. But anyway, so there was some other generally still like some good racing. I agree with you actually now that I've watched this weekend. This is the first time I've commentated Watkins Glen. It really is not the best racetrack.
No.
It's so fun to drive, but the racing there is not necessarily great.
It's anticlimactic because the best passing opportunities in the beginning of the lap. So even if you have a last lap pass, it's like over right in the beginning and then it's kind of done. And then like, what do you like as the commentator? You're like, oh, like there's a couple corners left. He might get them. But like really in the back of our heads, we're like, he really has to mess up to like lose this race. Like there's no way like the other car's just going to like make something happen here.
Right.
Yeah.
But there were a couple funny ones. The first one was, I forget if I shared the pictures of it, but on Sunday in the like winged Formula car race, so it's the fastest cars. It's like Formula Atlantic, prototype cars, and then Formula Continental, Formula Enterprises, and something else. And in that race, there was supposed to be a split start with the fastest cars, the Formula Atlantics, in the front, and then another start for all of the other classes that are slower. And multiple people had either broken or left by this point from the Formula Atlantic group. So instead of it being like a 7-car first wave on the split start, there was 1 car behind the one pace car. And then 35 seconds behind, there were like 10 cars in the second wave.
I haven't
So
watched
the entire
it.
warm-up lap, we're watching this one car go around the racetrack. And then they come up onto the front straight and the guy waves the green flag for the one car. And he comes down the front straightaway to turn 1. And we're like, how do we commentate this? This is ridiculous.
Was this one car weaving and warming tires before a race start? Because that would just add to the comedic effect.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Formula Atlantic. It's like a fast.
Yeah, were they weaving and warming the tires? Like they're like, I need a strong first lap if I'm going to hang with everyone around me.
Right, yeah.
Oh my God.
And then the other moment that cracked us up was in the production car group, there was a Volvo 142. It's like the old 80s box version, like giant steel box Volvo.
Okay.
And Greg Ginsburg is reading off all the cars in the grid. So it's right before their first race. And he gets down to the H production field where this car is. And he says the guy's name and whatever, driving the Volvo 142, sponsored by Bad Motor Racing. And as he says that, he doesn't even know it's happening. As he says that, the car's he cuts to the camera shot and the car's blowing up as he goes through the camera shot, like pouring smoke out from underneath it. And he's pulling off the track.
See, all right, I don't know, but this seems like somebody who's a problem with their car breaking all the time. They literally have a fake sponsor called Bad Motor Racing as they're blowing up. Come on.
Yeah. So on the nose. Hey, he got off the racetrack though.
He did? Okay.
He did it good. Yeah.
Good. He's using that practice to good use.
Right. Yeah, he's got plenty of it apparently.
in this version of reality that I just created on the podcast. Yes, he has plenty of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
so yeah, that was my weekend.
That's fun. So wait, how did you guys commentate the one car starting? You just say, and we're green, so and so, blah blah blah. Gonna have a pretty uneventful race. All right, let's go to the next start.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Greg is the lead. Greg or Brian, when they're depending on who's there, are the lead, and then I'm the color. So I'm almost never talking at the green flag.
Gotcha.
But yeah, he was kind of making light of it for sure.
Okay.
He was like, hey, you're gonna have a busy race. I kind of like, I shy away from that. I want to be, like I said, I want to be honest and I want to be like blunt in some situations, but I don't want to make it what we're talking about look stupid,
right?
Like sound stupid,
because humans are watching it. So like, if you're acting too serious about something that's obviously not serious, then I think the broadcast kind of loses a little credibility. You know what I mean? So yeah. Like you can't be like and green, like you can't be like a normal start where it's like and we're green and like it's like exciting. Right. It's literally just one car going away from the away from the line. So Yeah. All right. Well, that's fun, Tom. It sounds like you had some fun. Kelsey in the chat said that Watkins is always very crashy, which I could see.
It does eat cars. Yeah. I mean, there's no margin. You're just like, you're one car width off the track and you're into a wall.
Yep. So maybe some tracks are better for racing than others. If you want to race some tracks, maybe iRacing is the best way to experience those tracks and how they race. And then like on those tracks, if you want to drive them because they're fun, like Watkins Glen is, I still haven't driven it, but apparently very fun to drive.
Incredible.
Then like, yeah, maybe like a time trial. I think there is like an SCCA time trials coming up at Watkins Glen soon, actually. It might be like next weekend or so, but or like maybe it was this weekend. I don't know if you're listening to this right now and you're driving to Watkins Glen. I knew it existed on some of these weekends.
Sure.
But I remember that they were trying to get people together to actually, it might have been this last weekend. That actually makes more sense. Was there a time trial aspect to it? I think they were trying to fill entries. Okay, maybe I'm thinking of a different thing. I think Adam Kovac is about to save me in the chat. Nope. Nope, he did not. He said IMSA is this weekend at the Glen.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe some tracks are like better for time trials than actual wheel-to-wheel racing, even though wheel-to-wheel racing is very fun. But sitting behind pace cars, not actually all that much fun.
Yeah, I mean, like NCM's a perfect example. That track races pretty like garbage, unless people don't know where they're going. The first time GLTC went there, for example, and a bunch of people didn't really know where they were going, it raced amazing. Like you end up side by side all the time, and you have space, and you can like make moves. But when you're in a pack of people that know where they're going, you can't make moves at NCM. But it's like the best lap, I think.
Yes. Yep.
What was the other thing? Oh, did you happen to download the new NASCAR road circuit, street circuit on iRacing? Did you give that a shot?
No. Should I have?
No, I'm not surprised you didn't. But that race was this past weekend, and it was, speaking of Crash Fest. Oh my Crash Fest. There was so much crashing in the NASCAR weekend. It's not that air base in San Diego.
Okay.
Did you put it in iRacing?
Did you drive it at all in iRacing? Normally, look, this is why I didn't drive it. Normally the NASCAR's like street circuit tracks are really uninteresting. It's literally just for the show. There's nothing complicated or flowy or anything about it. It's just a track that navigates around some city streets and they can put on a broadcast about it. But as far as like a lap or driving it, even in like a NASCAR, it's probably pretty heartless or soulless.
I heard it was kind of fun. That's why I was going to ask you. But
I haven't driven it. We'll have to try it out.
I mean, there's no real reason to have it for most people, I don't think.
What I have still in my like what I'm still tasting is the Chicago street circuit that came out on iRacing not like 4, 5, 6 years ago. And that was probably the most boring racetrack I've ever driven. It was pretty bad.
That's the one that's like a bow tie shape, right? It's just like two squares.
Yep.
Pushed together.
Yep.
No, this one actually looked quite interesting. I heard good things about it, but
okay.
I watched the highlights and stuff, and it was like so much crashing.
Gotcha. Okay.
It was a little confusing. Why, like, they were racing so hard at the beginning of the race because it's stages, right? I don't really know how NASCAR works.
I don't know how it works either. Somebody will have to explain
they were racing like their year's livelihood depended on the first stint of the race, and like a bunch of crashes happened. I was like, what are we doing? It's a long race, friends.
Anthony in the chat said that was not a crash fest for NASCAR. That was a clean race. So
shows what I know.
Yeah, apparently, Tom, that maybe it gets worse. So
I don't know what I would do if I was in the booth. Anyway,
it's just part of the show.
Do you have a topic or anything, or should we just do some questions?
Let's do some questions. I'm down.
Let's do some questions.
Let's do it. Let me hit the button. Emails. All right. Okay. Ross unburied a question. I'm going to grab that one first so we can just jump into the pinned questions.
Okay.
Ross writes in, can you walk us through your autocross launch process, particularly on lower horsepower vehicles like E-Street or E-Street Touring, which is Miatas, like old Miatas? This is a skill I'm trying to learn since I've never had to worry about it for track use. And I got a couple comments on how my launches are quote unquote aggressive from two different nationals levels drivers riding shotgun in the advanced school last weekend. From watching nationals runs online, my process has been rev up to 3,000 while holding the handbrake, let out the clutch a bit to load up the engine and transmission without moving, release the handbrake and release the clutch just as fast to get 3 to 4 wheel chirps. That usually has me starting at 2,000 RPM in first gear. Given your experience, I'm curious how you feel you achieve a solid start to your run while balancing certain level of mechanical sympathy, especially when co-driving. While I understand it's a lot of practice repetition, I'd like to start practicing the right way and know what to do and what you feel in a good autocross launch. Ross, one thing I could say for sure is that your 1, 2, 3 method of the 3,000 and the handbrake and that sounds wildly complicated for just a Miata.
I was going to say the same. This is the last stage of the run that you should overthink or really think much about at all. But since we're thinking about it, honestly, all I do is try to get just enough wheel spin that the revs don't drop.
Yeah. Or
so like whatever I'm mostly co-driving, so in general I trend towards like being a little bit easy on the car. But I feel like 90% of autocross courses don't require a hard launch, and the ones that do, all you need to do is just slip the tires enough that the revs don't drop after you leave the line. So like if you launch and it's like more wheel spin.
Yeah. I actually think
RPM sounds.
I actually think it's probably better for mechanical sympathy to have the wheels break away than it to like lug into the whole drivetrain and like catch all of a sudden when you're leaving. It's better to just like get the wheel spin right off the rip and then ride that out. Really, like when the tires stop spinning up, you should be mostly in the power of first gear, like wherever the RPMs end up, like when the car finally hooks up, you should basically be kind of in power. Now, I think there's an optimal way to launch these like slower cars, and it involves like a clutch slip that matches with the tire slip. And what I aim for is you get this like slingshot effect as like and when I say clutch slip, it's not like you're just like riding the clutch, but it's not like it's just like a sidestep clutch dump. It's like a measured load into the tire as it starts spinning up. So it's not just like just a burnout. And if it's done properly, you should be moving forward right when you leave. And then you'll feel this like slingshotting effect as the tires like grab in, and you'll feel it like the car at the end of its like tires grabbing in and spinning. You'll feel like a little extra surge of acceleration as like the tires grip in. And that's generally what, like, especially at like a pro solo, that's what I'm aiming for on the like the launch RPM is, do I get that like slingshot feeling? Because you can spin up the tires and then you never get that feeling. That tells me that they spun up too much. If the tires don't spin up enough and then I kind of just like bog and I don't get that like that surge of acceleration feeling that I'm aiming for, then that tells me I could launch at like a slightly higher RPM. But the tires break away like right when I launch. They don't just like hook up, especially in the slower cars. I think it's too important to have, when the tires even out, to have the car in power. You can't be out of cam or whatever in a slow car. You'll just be sitting there accelerating for too long.
Yeah, that's a good point. You need to not slip. Nope. Say that again. You need it to be in the power band when the tires hook up.
Yeah.
And then otherwise, you just don't want the R's to drop when they hook up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you don't want to
don't overthink it.
Yeah, like it's literally there's two. If you bog or you just did an endless burnout, and there's like an in between zone that's actually pretty big for like it equaling all the same time. That's what you aim for. So if you bog, more RPM. If it just turns into an endless burnout, less RPM. Somewhere in between that is the right RPM to launch at, and I don't think you should necessarily be worried about like the mechanical sympathy of launching the car. Look at all these autocross cars. They're doing like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of launches every single year for decades, and they mostly never break. It's fine.
Except for C Street prepared Miatas.
Yeah, they break all the time.
Sorry to the 7 of those. But a good way to practice, if you need to, Ross, just go out in your neighborhood and practice at stop signs.
Yeah, no problems.
Kidding. Don't do that. Okay, good question. Yeah, I would say you could simplify your process and not think about it nearly as much. That would be my
Now,
the whole handbrake thing and everything. That's a lot. I've only driven one car that required that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I will say, in the ND Miata, the handbrake thing was actually worth it because, especially if you're on a hill, and especially if it was a pro solo, maybe a tour would never really matter. But at a pro solo, if the hill assist was on when you went to go launch the car, it got inconsistent launches. And the inconsistency could lead to like red lights or a really slow reaction time or whatever. But if you pulled the handbrake up, it would turn off the hill assist. And it would also hold you if you were staged like slightly on a hill or whatever. But basically, when you launch and you flick the handbrake down, you got a more consistent launch every time. But that's a very pro solo specific thing, not just maximizing the car before you broke the timing lights. One thing that we did not touch on, Tom, is take note where the course timer starts, because it might not even be worth doing a burnout. You might just like pull away slowly, maximize the radius of the thing, and then drive away.
Correct. Yeah, more often than not, I see people way overdoing the starts.
Yes.
It's like they want to do the most at the start, and then they immediately have to turn, and they're like the rowdiest launch you've ever seen into just silence. It cracks me up every time.
Yeah, it does. I do think it's fun though when somebody's like, whoa, and they're just doing like a crazy like launch, and then they, it's a 90-degree start, and then they like turn around and then they just drive away from it, and I'm just like, they know exactly what they look like. At least I hope they do. I hope they do. Yeah, I hope they're not in the car thinking I'm killing it when it just looks like they're trying to be funny. So
yeah, especially like cam cars are the worst with this because they aren't that faster on the rest of the course. They can't use full throttle all that much. So they do these big rowdy launches doing the most, and then they launch, and then you don't hear the car over like 5,000 RPM the rest of the run, just kind of creeping around. Well, you got to launch it.
Yep. All right. So okay, let's jump into some of the pin messages. Do you want to
doing this so I don't have to navigate my laptop as often?
Yeah, I can carry the questions this time around.
Perfect.
All right, so this one is from Ryan. Also, thank you everyone for following what I said last week on the podcast, where if you really want your questions answered, you have to ask them right before the podcast starts. This is way easier. This is way easier than trying to keep note of the questions that are piling up. So this is the way we're doing it from now on. And if you want your question answered, you have to bump it to the top. And if we keep not answering your question, then maybe rephrase it in some way so it's more appealing. Okay, here we go. This one is from Ryan, and he says, a fun one. I have not read the rest of the question, but now I'm intrigued. So that's maybe a cheat code for everyone else as well. All right. What is your favorite dish to cook at home for guests? Tom, what is yours?
I haven't done that in a while, but I used to make this thing all the time. That was, I just called it like a ground turkey bowl. It's like a grain bowl, but with no grains. Ground turkey. And you mix it in with a bunch of different stuff, so it's got spices and good stuff in it. And then a separate dish, black beans and red peppers with taco seasoning.
Okay.
New dish, zucchini and squash sauteed in a pan, a little bit of oil, just get them a little nice and fresh.
Way more complicated than mine, but go ahead.
Last part, sweet potatoes, diced and sauteed in another pan, little garlic salt, little basil on those. And then you just mix those four things together in a bowl, however you like.
You know, one thing I'm noticing
super easy and simple.
As I become an older adult and slowly less of a child is that everyone around me knows how to cook and I still don't know how to cook.
What do you mean you don't know how to cook? Like, tell me.
I can cook some things. I can cook meat and like potatoes and like vegetables and stuff like that. But when you're like, oh, I do like a pinch of this and of that or whatever, it's like, I never do that because I just like get the food in my face. I'm never like preparing a meal for like enjoyment or whatever. I'm just like cool. I'm cooking this, and then I'm eating it, and then I'm getting back to whatever I was doing. It's never like I'm never like lighting the candle for myself and then like setting it all. You know what I mean? Like I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't guess I didn't really think about it much, but I started until like kind of. No, that's a lie. I did cook for myself a lot before 2020. But during 2020, I started getting into like some food content.
Okay.
But that was one of my rabbit holes, and I was seeing someone at the time who loved to cook, and they taught me to use way more spices, like just get way more aggressive with the spices, and then everything tastes better.
Okay.
That's all you got to do.
I guess the spices are free. It's not like there are any calories or anything. That's just like free flavor.
Yeah, I just start with a flavor profile I want to hit, and then I go from there. Like, do I want something kind of like that I can put soy sauce on, and then I go from there. Or do I want something that's kind of like garlic, or do I want something based in like a tomato sauce, and then I just make it up? I don't really follow recipes. Could you follow a recipe and cook something, or you that even is like no?
I mean, I'm sure I could. It's not like I have, but I'm sure I could. I'm going to cheat
That's
a
crazy.
little bit.
You've never followed a recipe to make yourself a meal.
I mean, like mac and cheese.
Okay.
Does that count?
Not really.
When I cook ramen, it tells me how much water I should put in the
Sure.
in the pot.
All right, so I guess you're not going to answer this part of the
I will
question
answer
because DJ doesn't cook for other people.
No. I will answer it because I'm going to use Christine as teamwork. We make these vegan quesadillas, and they're going to sound disgusting, and I'm not entirely sure what's in it because I don't do like that part of the cooking. I do the cooking. I don't do the prepping, but like when they get put in the corn tortillas and it's time for me to like fry them up, I feel like I have a good feel of like the appropriate amount of cooked for it. So it's not like burnt, but it's got like a nice crisp to it. I got a good feel for like the amount of oil that needs to be in the pan for it to not be oily, but for it to be crispy. I have a good feel for that. I'm good at cooking, not all the other stuff that comes up to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So Christine will do like the whole like ingredients prep, which is like it involves like spinach and beans and like sweet potatoes and all this stuff. And whatever it ends up at, and it tastes cheesy, but so Emil says, so you're lazy. No, come on. I'm just not inspired. All right. Anyways, I don't know exactly what goes in these quesadillas, but they have like a cheesy, like vibe or like texture to them. Ryan says, so DJ just understands how to not burn stuff. All right. I realize this is making me look ridiculous. Trust me. I'm not like completely oblivious here. But anyways, those quesadillas are probably like our go-to if we're going to make food for somebody. Now saying that, it's not like we're having people come over all the time. I just before the podcast started with a story on how I locked myself into a closet and had to ask a coworker to come take me out of the closet. Okay. So it's not like I live around a bunch of people that I know.
Yeah. And then what was the second part? Was there another part?
No, that's it.
Of this question?
Oh yeah. Sorry. All right. So what's your favorite dish to cook just for yourself? Guilty pleasure, maybe?
Oh.
Favorite thing. I mean, look, I'm a sucker for cinnamon rolls, and I feel like those are really easy.
That's not cooking. That's using a microwave.
No. It's the one where you put in the oven. Doesn't that count? If you got to pop the thing open and put it on a tray, that counts.
No, I think it counts if you
What
like
the hell? How does
get
that not
some
count?
dough. You don't have to make your own dough, but you have to start with the dough and then make your cinnamon rolls. That's what he's asking about.
No, that's bullshit. Look, I got to get the thing out of the freezer and I got to put them in the toaster and then they pop. They're called toaster strudels. That's my guilty pleasure to cook.
You guys ever heard of toaster strudels? Kind of a sleeper hit. They're mainly out of Ohio, but you learned about it here on the podcast.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
I thought that was for rich kids when I was a kid. Like the kids who got toaster strudel were the rich kids for sure.
Oh, apparently I was a rich kid then because like my mom would go grocery shopping and then come home, and I'd go straight to the freezer and find the toaster strudels, and I would eat the entire freaking box. Nobody else in my family got to have toaster strudels. I'm the only one in my family with toaster strudel memories.
Because you're the only one. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Obviously, as I've grown up, I've learned that's not the case because it's just something that my parents wouldn't buy us that other kids got.
Yeah.
But toaster strudels, Uncrustables, that's the cool rich kids had those. Obviously not in hindsight, but we never got those, and everyone else would get them.
Yeah.
And Go-Gurt. Go-Gurt was for the cool kids and the rich kids. And in hindsight, obviously not. What is my favorite thing of guilty pleasures? I don't know. If I'm gonna like properly make something, I love to make a good avocado toast. I learned how you can make like a good balsamic glaze, cover it in like some pistachios and some pumpkin seeds and a little bit of like tomato and onion on it, smash up the avocado. That's good.
See, that sounds really
I like to make
time-consuming.
this breakfast. It's like white fluffy rice with a poached egg and an avocado with some soy sauce. That's really good. I like to make I recently like to make like some pasta dishes. I don't know where this came from, but like some like knockoff carbonara with some like egg yolks, and you like emulsify, you like mix them together just right to make the sauce. I like doing that kind of stuff.
I have no
Cooking's
idea
more
what you're
fun than
talking
driving
about.
half the time for me now these days. I don't know what's wrong.
When Tom's at the racetrack and he gets to cook, he's like in his own element. You'll just see Tom, he's just like vibing, just like cooking around, and we're all doing like race car hands, and Tom's just like off to the side, just freaking making food, just living life.
It's so fun to make good food out of stuff that would normally just be like whatever.
You did good at that when we did that Lucky Dog race at CMP, because I think all we had was cheese, bacon, and hot dog buns. Am I remembering that correctly? Tortillas. That's what it was.
Tortillas.
Yep. And that was breakfast and lunch. Maybe even dinner, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't fully remember it. But
I don't remember either. Thank you for entertaining our. Well, is that the end of the question?
That is
I guess
the end of
thank
the
you
question.
for entertaining our food detour.
Yep. Thanks, Ryan, for making me look like a man child. No problem.
Have you ever seen? There's a meme that I keep seeing people do versions of now. That's like, it's some version of a compliment they would get, and they're like, "Thanks, I used to cry during math homework." That's how I feel whenever someone's like, "Oh, you're such a great driver." I'm like, "Yeah, thanks. I used to cry during math homework." That's you with cooking. You're such a good driver. Thanks. I can sort of microwave things.
The other day, Christine was this was like last week or maybe the week before, but she was stressing a little bit while packing for one of her like big backpacking trips, and I was like, I gotta help her somehow. So I was just like, all right, verbally tell me how to cook one of your things. And she like was telling me what to do, and I was doing it. I was adding like paprika and like some garlic and like some cornstarch and all this stuff, and I was chopping them how they needed to be chopped, and I put them in the air fryer like in the right way, and then I flipped them, and then I went off and like started cooking something else or whatever like that she was walking me through. It was kind of fun. It was kind of fun, Tom. So maybe I should use the kitchen in my house at some point. I don't know.
What I don't get is why working on cars is the worst thing ever, and cooking food is kind of one of the best things ever, in my brain at least.
Because when you cook the food, you immediately get to eat it. When you work on a car, you just get to go back to breaking it.
I guess that's true, yeah.
Can you imagine if you just cooked the food and then you had to immediately cook it again? Oh, that would suck. All right. We'll jump over to this next question from Will. Sorry, excuse me. How do you deal with a day where your runs are fast, but you don't feel like you can place the car through the course? This being in reference to an incredibly bumpy and dusty course where the grip is just all over the place. I asked because I was struggling with feeling like my runs were sloppy/messy. But then it's within a tenth of the class leader and top packs, and there's no way I should be faster than that person by a lot. So, okay, that's basically where the question ends. So, how do you deal with a day where your runs are fast, but you don't feel like you can place the car?
Okay, well, I want to get to the second part. I think there's kind of two questions there.
I think
In general, why, if I'm struggling with that, there's two thoughts that come to mind. If the first one is I try to think about where I've been looking, because if I'm struggling to place the car or get the car through the course the way that I want to, probably what's wrong is I'm not looking where I want to end up. So I sort of like have learned over the years that if I'm struggling, just like think about that and try to be a little bit more strategic, and maybe even just one spot on the course is a problem. And then I have to think about like, what are my eyes doing there? And I don't think about what they have been doing. I just think about, I just try to plan for like what I need them to do to try
Yeah.
to alleviate the problem. And almost every time that works, just having the little zoom out moment, like, oh yeah, I just need to make sure I think of that for that spot on the course. Um, Otherwise, if I can't repeat runs, the other thing that came to mind before you mentioned this, the surface, which I'll answer that in a second, is that the setup, something about the setup is not happy. The drivability of the car is not up enough. Um, and that comes from years and years and years and years of, working through so many different cars and working on my own driving and everything. But at this point, if I can't get the car through the course the way that I intend to, and I go through the exercise of like, well, why can't I get there? Why can't I repeat this? Whatever. I almost exclusively end up on like, it's kind of the drivability of the car is not where I need it to be. And then obviously I have to adjust my driving to that. You can't always fix that, but that is something that I've learned to go to faster than I used to. Now, when you introduce surface stuff, that one's hard because I've done that before. Like there was one particular day, and I feel horrible because I caused someone to like go 7 hours out of their way to do this. But we went from the Charlotte Pro Solo in 2020 with Darian's S2000, and instead of him going home and me going home to Ohio, we both the next day decided to like impromptu drive to Pittsburgh and go to pit race and go to a local event. And the day before had been a drifting event. And I think, were they also resurfacing something? There was just like gravel everywhere.
They just repaved the whole surface, so it was still like dusty.
That's right.
And yeah.
So the only thing you could do was stay on the tightest line that everybody was driving, and there were even sections where you couldn't even really do that. And it was like one of the worst days of autocross that both of us had had. We were both, and he's jokingly mad, like, why'd you make me come here? This place sucks and all this. But normally that place is great.
I don't know.
Great. And
that I don't know what you guys are talking about. That event was awesome and it went great.
Yeah.
And I don't quite remember who got top packs that event, but I don't know. He's probably really cool and has a really good podcast with a bunch of badass listeners and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't quite place.
I bet though, if I could like, I don't remember who it was, but I bet they can't hardly make themselves food. Just yeah, DJ was in a Civic Si on street tires and was practically beating us on raw time because we were struggling so much in this S2000 on Hoosiers with aero and stuff.
Not to discredit your struggles, Tom, but I think I was just kind of on fire that day. I could have top packs in anything. No, it was definitely the Civic. A G Street Civic was definitely the thing to have that day. So,
but my answer to the question would be, in those situations, honestly, I think you have to try less hard. And by that mean you're adjusting, kind of like driving in the rain. Like if you go out and drive in the rain and you're trying as hard as you do in the dry to manipulate the car the way you do in the dry, and you're pushing the limits as hard as you do in the dry, you're probably asking for a big mistake and maybe even bigger consequences than just mistake. And I think that's the case when you're dealing with like bad surfaces on autocross. If there's a lot of gravel, if there's changes, like there's grippy and non-grippy patches like they have in DC or used to, you have to drive it appropriately to that level of what the surface will give you. And that almost always means underdrive slightly from what you think. And there's no answer for like how much, but it's literally just like attacking the brake pedal a little bit less, attacking where you hit the brake pedal a little bit less, driving the car a little bit more precisely, trying a little bit less hard to like manipulate the car around. And then you're probably 9 times out of 10, in my experience anyway, going to do better for that, even though it feels like you're having to go slower in a way.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with this. I think this is like a classic. You have to drive what the car is giving you. And if it feels like you're wildly out of control and it's hard to place the car or whatever, and it feels like you're overdriving, well, you're probably overdriving, right? Even if your butt dyno is saying, but the car has more than this, and all other behavior is pointing at it actually doesn't, Well, then maybe you pay attention to the behavior and go, maybe I just drive the car that's underneath me on this particular day, on this particular surface, on this particular course. And I think that will always net the better result. I think that's what I default to. So what Will was experiencing here, I don't think I ever really, I'm glad you like took the brunt of the question, because I'm like, man, I've never really experienced this like sensation of like my runs are fast, but I can't place the car. Normally, if it feels like I can't place the car, my runs are really slow, and it's because I'm doing a bad job. Like that's normally what that sensation turns into. Uh, so yeah, I feel like it just being in tune to what the car is giving you and what you can get from it, and just driving to that is going to be the better option.
Yeah. If I could expand on that a little bit, why you haven't experienced this as much, maybe I kind of would maybe profile the type of driver that might deal with this more often than other types of drivers, as someone who is either very naturally willing to push the car hard. Like, I'll use myself as an example. When I was starting autocross, I would generally be very fast event to event, even though I didn't really know what I was doing yet. But I would still have some days where I would either I would hit cones every single run. There were certain days where I wasn't fast. Every once in a while, it'd just be like I was kind of mediocre and I didn't understand why. But I think it's because I had the natural foundation built from sim racing and stuff before I got into driving the real car, that I kind of knew what to do, and I was willing to push the car hard and take risks and be at the limit of adhesion and stuff. But I didn't really have a strategy with how to use that willingness to do that. Where I think you came from a much more like, oh, I'm going to get good at this and I'm going to do it the right way kind of approach, if that makes sense. Like, I did motorsports and learned how to do it over the first 5 years to like even figure out what I was doing. Where I think you came in with a little bit more awareness in what needed to be done, and you tried to hit that mark a little bit more early, maybe because you were older when you started. I'm not sure.
No,
Do you think there's anything to that?
I feel like I like, if you watch my early runs, it was a bunch of underdriving followed by a bunch of overdriving followed up by a bunch of underdriving. Like, I just wasn't in tune with the limit at all of the vehicle, and like in my mind, I was thrashing the car. I was getting everything I could out of it, but like reflecting on the run at the end of it, it was just because I had that one big slide because I like completely made the car unhappy. Because I just wasn't in tune with like what I was doing and how the tires were interacting with the road and you know, all that stuff. But when I finished the run, I would think of that one slide I had and been like, that was it. That's all the car had. And then like if I watch those runs now, like with a little bit you know, more experience and just understanding of what I need to do, I would see that I was like underdriving in this part and then overdriving in this part, and then yeah, I think I think we're like, really, I think it was driving a bunch of different cars, like one autocross season, and then like rental carts, I think is really good for this, because at some point you can't tune in to what it should be, because every single cart you jump into is going to be different. So you just have to drive what you have, and you have to try to maximize whatever that is. So some carts, like, they have good grip. Some carts are good in a fast line. Sometimes you get carts that are good at both. Sometimes you get carts that are good at turning left and not right, and then the other way around. So then like literally how you end up on specific corners on the course will change. Like the line will change because you have to overcompensate for its lack of left-hand turns with the like its really willingness to turn right. And so I think that like driving what you got is honestly for me, and my point of view was from me driving rental carts, because they were always different and the surface always felt different, and you had to adapt to what you were given. And I think just the reps, because you can do it so often, you really become in tune with what the tires are going to give you. And I think if you can be in tune with what the tire's doing on the surface, then you can literally drive anything on any surface and be mostly completely fine.
Yeah. I think you kind of agreed with my question. It sounds like you were not as in tune with hitting what the limit of adhesion was in your early days.
I wasn't, no.
So that's kind of what I'm thinking is I think people who are naturally more prone to being comfortable with driving at the limit, but then they don't know what to do with it. That's what this question makes me think of.
Yeah, maybe. I felt
I don't
like
know why I'm trying to go down that road. It doesn't
yeah,
really matter, but that's the the answer to the question is the same as what we said
yeah,
before.
yeah. Gotcha. I that made me think about rental cards. So those are really fun. Hmm. All right. Will, thanks for writing in. I'm just thinking about rental carts all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. So this one is from Piotr. I think that's how you say that name. He is from Poland, and he wrote this question in. It's a very, very long one, but I'm going to do my best to read it, Peter. All right. I've been listening to you guys for some time. In fact, I've already listened to every single episode twice while at work, even though this guy's sick of us, Tom. Even
Holy
though
cow.
I only started listening about 2 months ago. So it's basically been on repeat. Thanks to you guys, I'm finally starting to understand what I'm doing behind the wheel, kind of. Sadly, I won't have access to my simulator for the next 3 weeks, so I can't put any of that theory into practice just yet. I wanted to ask if you could give me some tips or point me towards some good learning materials. I've only been sim racing for about 7 months, and he got his actual driver's license 4 months ago. And he's been a huge motorsports fan for ages. We really don't have autocross here in Poland, but we have KJS, which is basically amateur rallying on gravel, asphalt, and mixed surfaces. Are you looking that up right now, Tom?
No, I looked up how many. That's 12.8 days of listening that he's done in the last 2 months.
That is like on repeat.
Dedication. All right, we're gonna answer this question the best of any question we've ever answered.
Okay.
Sorry, there's what you said the word as I was searching that.
Okay.
What kind of? They don't have autocross, but they have
KJS.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, I'm gonna keep reading the question. I actually got super lucky. If any of the listeners, the live listeners in the Discord want to look that up and like post some pictures of it, then like you'll be the heroes. I actually got super lucky with my driving instructor. Besides teaching the standard stuff, he actively competes in KJS himself. Thanks to his advice, I was able to start practicing some techniques on the sim, like the Scandi flick, heel toe, trail braking, without having to unlearn any bad everyday driving habits. My first instructor told me, I'm obviously nowhere near perfect, far away from that, but I get all the concepts well enough to make them work. I'd love to get into circuit racing and pick up iRacing eventually, but for now, I'm happy I managed to get a PC good enough to run other sims. Right now, I'm running standard, modded Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Rally. I don't have that much trouble breaking into the top 300 of Assetto Corsa Rally, as I love it. I really want to transition more into circuit/track racing. Do you have any advice or tips on how to make that jump? So he has 2 questions here, Tom. One was the learning materials, because he has to be separated from the simulator for 3 weeks. And then the second question was, do you have any advice of tips how to make that jump? And that jump is into circuit racing. I'm not sure what the ladder looks like in Europe, but I'm assuming there's plenty of like track day stuff and like in budget endurance racing where you can like rent seats from teams and stuff like that. I do think iRacing would be a good pickup. It sounds like your computer is good enough to do iRacing if you're doing a Assetto Corsa Rally, because that's a relatively new game.
Yep.
So, yeah. What do you think, Tom?
I was looking up KJS as well, so I caught bits and pieces of this question. Sorry if I missed a detail and correct me if I missed it. But it sounds like you're mostly doing the right things. I think
Yeah.
the simulator stuff is great. I would say adding iRacing to your tool belt is ideal. just because they all drive differently, and they all drive different from each other, and they also all drive differently from real world in small ways and in different ways. So adding more sims to your tool belt will kind of help you triangulate what reality actually is and like work within that rather than like learning the physics of a settle course so well
Yeah.
that you can't do anything else. I would say that going to real world events before you can drive and trying to participate and meet people in any way you can is highly valuable. If there's not something super low impact like autocross to get into.
Yeah.
I just looked up KJS. Looks like pretty legit, like basically stage rally, like obstacle course through a parking lot on roads. Like it looks definitely higher impact
than autocross.
Like you need safety equipment, it looks like, and stuff like that. I don't know, just a quick little scroll, but yeah, going to events and meeting people and getting trackside in a way that keeps you like your finger on the pulse of the events, I think is pretty powerful. And then the last thing I guess would be trying to find, to your point about, I don't know how European motorsport work other than the Americans have an impression that it's even more plentiful. So if you haven't already looked up a way to find events, like in America, we have Motorsports Reg is the website, and like at least I would say 70% of motorsports events registration is on there. I don't know, it's pretty high. Like a lot of motorsports events just use motorsportsreg.com to register for events and manage all that. So you can find events super easily. I would recommend that. You can look at the tracks near you on their websites. You can find calendars almost no matter what. Don't look at like, if you go to Road America's main website, the calendar is just going to tell you there are 8 pro races. But then if you dig a little bit, you can actually find their like day-to-day calendar. Looking up stuff like that to find events. Meeting people at the events will help you learn about more events. All that's what I'm saying, like getting your finger on the pulse of real motorsports by being there is a big thing.
I like the local
and then the
track
last thing
idea.
I was going to say is watching videos, but I want you to answer.
Yeah, I like the local track idea because there's got to be a track near you. So you could like look up on their website if it's really readily available. If not, then I'm sure you could just Google like events at whatever the track name is that's near you. You'll see like online signups for this or that. Like get into some like some track days, some HPDE. I don't know exactly what it's called over in Europe, but it's going to be where you can just take a streetcar out there and you can drive on the racetrack in your streetcar. Like that works. I don't know how attainable just like a cheaper track car would be, but you don't need something fancy or expensive or fast or anything like that. You just need something that will circulate. You could do that.
Get a Dacia. Just like they race at the Nürburgring.
Is that blue thing that was like going kind of viral? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yep. I just saw it as blue. So yeah, I think between iRacing and checking out your local track, I think, and then, obviously the other sims and stuff like that. It kind of seems like Peter's really into rally, and Anthony in the chat here said they have Rally Sprint, which is basically autocross on steroids. So maybe that's a little like less like stage rally, and a little bit more attainable for like normal vehicles. Maybe Anthony, why don't you enlighten me since you seem to know a little bit about it? Said kind of in between autocross and a real track. So maybe check out Rally Sprint. That's a thing. But really, to Tom's advice, going to these things and talking to the people who are there doing it, they're going to know. They're going to know where you should go, what you should do. Like, those are going to be the people in the know because they're doing it. They're literally doing the thing that you want to do. So talk to those people. Be friendly, be open, don't know anything, and that's perfectly fine. Just ask questions. These people will love to help you because we're all drug dealers and we just want more people to do this fun thing. No matter where you are in the world, that's what it is. We're all enablers and we all want everyone to do this thing with us.
Yeah. And you don't have to start with a stranger that's participating. You can start with the person who's working the gate, the registration table. You can like someone on the staff to like
Yep.
get you a little bit of a lay of the land. That's where I would start. And then the last thing, I don't know how much of this was asking about like how to become a better driver versus how to get more into motorsports, because those are kind of different things, even though both are implied, whatever, as the same thing. I think there's a lot to be said for watching video, especially if you can find good video of cars similar to yours, both first and third person. And I don't know if the third person thing, maybe give me your opinion on this, but I feel like I learn better in some capacities watching third person than first person video, meaning TV trackside instead of in car. And if you can find video of the same, roughly the same, at least the same track, maybe even the exact same car, you know, you can kind of find this. Maybe like an example would be if there's a GLTC race that I posted a lap of, and then you can watch. Like I think that that's actually really powerful. I know that I used to be obsessive over like watching replays on video games though, so I think maybe that's where that comes from for me. Do you watch third person at all? Do you watch replays at all?
Like when you
When
say
you're like
third person, you
watch
mean
what the car looks like.
like a third person of me driving?
Third person of anybody driving so that you can start to correlate what fast driving looks like both from first and third person. That's kind of where I'm going with this.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought and question. I don't think when I first started, like in my mind, I probably thought I looked like the fast drivers. But I think I would need the comparison of like, that's what they look like. That's what I think I look like. Now let's see the footage of what I actually look like and like see what the difference is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Because I don't think I would have the wherewithal to understand what I look like from the outside. Now I will say some of the more entertaining racing videos that I've ever watched is from somebody else's point of view, and they're stuck behind me. I love watching those videos.
Sure, yes. Anyway, all that that was just kind of something I was interested in as a side topic. I think finding videos of good drivers, if you start to go to the events and learn who like the people who win are, finding their in-car, like you can study video without having to do anything of yourself, really. Like you don't have to have been there or driven there or whatever, and you can start to pick up stuff as well.
And then also because we live in an algorithm based like content feeding system, intentionally make your algorithm give you like how to like iRacing tip videos. So you are like when you do get iRacing, like you can hit the ground running because your
Who's your
algorithm
favorite
is just feeding
person?
you that.
Who's your favorite person for creating that type of stuff?
I think Swelio. I think Swelio does the best. Swelio Almeida.
Swelio. Okay.
Yeah. Can you think of somebody who does a better job than Swelio?
I have 0 of this in my algorithm.
Okay.
Kind of on purpose. I don't really want to think about it when I'm on my phone.
I tune in to that stuff a lot just because sometimes they'll explain something that maybe I have 2 ways of explaining, but they explain it like a third and a fourth way. And I'm like, dang,
Sure.
okay, I like the way they worded that. Like that actually, I think that will resonate and make more sense with the people that I'm coaching. So I that's why that stuff shows up in my algorithm. And then sometimes just thinking about driving, like somebody's talking about like the nitty gritty. And I think that's why people listen to the podcast is we'll just talk about driving and it just makes you think about it a little bit. And I think just literally just thinking about driving will make you better at driving because it's just reinforcing those pathways in your brain. It's making them a little bit stronger. You're just imagining yourself doing the thing. It can only help.
Yeah. Yep, I agree with that.
So, all right, Peter from Poland, thanks for writing in.
That's so cool.
Are probably one listener in Poland. Tell your friends so we can have a couple more. So, all right, that's pretty cool. That's probably about it, Tom. Oh, hold on. One follow-up question from Peter. I just saw it. Favorite flavor of chips? Do you have a favorite flavor of chips, Tom?
Oh man, a food heavy episode. This is maybe weird, but I'm kind of cool with like a good tortilla chip.
I was gonna say
I know
the
that's
same
not what he's
thing.
asking. He's asking like Cool Ranch versus nacho cheese Doritos, but
Yeah, I'm not much of a chip person
me
until
neither.
it's like tortilla chips with salsa, and then I will go crazy and I can't even stop myself. But if it's just like a bag of chips, I I just I'm not interested. I can't eat them. You know, like when
There's something, it feels dirty to eat a bag of chips versus like if you buy a bag of pretzels or you buy a bag of
can't even do that. It's too dry. I
to
don't like
what?
it's too dry. I don't like a dry snack.
Okay, you can dip your pretzels in sour cream.
Oh, then they're fixed. Yeah. If we look, that's a little different. Like, okay, chip dip. Like if it's like some Ruffles with like some chip dip, like chip dip is basically like sour cream's cousin,
dip?
right? Uh, I can lose myself in that. Like I will go to town. I will lose count of how many bags of chips it took to polish off whatever the container size of dip is. Can't even stop myself. But if it's just the chips itself, then I'll pass. It's fine.
Yeah. John said combos. Great. Yep. Where'd it go? Roll. So okay, best salty snack. Yeah, I get pretzels. I feel like I'm a pretzel guy.
Yeah, nah, not me. If I can dip the pretzels in like hummus, that's pretty good. But if it's just
Okay.
pretzels all by themselves, it's too dry. How are you guys eating this stuff? You guys just like chugging water while like eating pretzels, or
No, I guess never thought about it. I like when they're like the big chunky like sourdough, really crunchy. Like you can't crunch wrong or you're gonna tear your mouth up, kind of crunchy. Mm.
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 I saved that experience for Captain Crunch, so I don't know. uh, yeah, I'm not much of a chip person, but I guess if you have some kind of dip or something, I lose my mind. I turn into an animal.
Oh,
What?
Sam said goldfish. Hell yeah, goldfish.
Nope, too dry.
You're a mess.
You're a mess. It's am I on an island here? Like I just can't eat like dry snacks. It's not good.
I think it's just you.
It's
Everyone
just
else
me.
is
Everyone
pretty
else,
excited about this.
dude, everyone else is going nuts in the chat. You got pizza fishes, you got goldfish,
Cheez-Its,
Doritos
Bugles.
sweet chili, yeah, Bugles. I'm surprised somebody hasn't said Takis yet. I know Christine would because she loves Takis. Yep. All right. And you guys, trail mix is good. You know, trail mix, if it was just those little bread loaf things, you know, the little bread slice things that I'm talking about in
Yes,
trail mix.
Gardettos.
Yeah, whatever those are. If there's a whole bag of those, I might be able to eat those. But
Okay.
yeah, everything else, eh. You know what? You know what's one chip I can eat? An Oreo. I can eat that.
Oreo chips. Got it.
Oreo chips. Yep.
We've turned this answer so American. Polish guy, what's your favorite chips? Oreos.
Oreos are basically chips with like built-in dip. Let's be honest. Come on.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Good. All right. Thanks for both of the questions there, Peter. All right. Tom, what you doing this weekend?
This weekend I'm pretty much just dog sitting, but I have some news for you. You don't even know about this yet.
Oh? Yeah.
Next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, I'm racing at Road America.
Oh.
In the new Zenith Endurance Series with the guys that I raced that Janetta with in that Janetta again.
Oh, that'll be fun. At Road America?
At Road America.
That's fun. Do you know what the entries look like? Because new series, it's a little. Is it?
They posted their entry list, and there was I didn't count. There's at least 25 to 30 cars. Let me double check.
That's great. That's awesome.
There's
for
4
like one of the first weekends.
Zenith Racing Series. Oh no, it's not numbered. 1, 2, 4, 6. There's a lot. There's
enough people to have a race.
enough. Look, there's all those.
Okay, that's a lot. Tom's showing
and
a list.
all those.
Oh, Tom had to scroll to show everyone. So it's enough of a list where the font was so small I couldn't read it on a webcam, and he had to scroll to show the full list. So it seems like enough cars to have a race. So that'll be fun. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how that series goes. I'm excited to drive the Janetta again. I think they actually have 2 now. I don't know which one I'm driving, and I don't know in which state. So I'm going to find out more. But I had to break the news on the podcast.
Well, that's
I'm
fun.
excited. That's my next race.
Yeah, dang.
What are you doing this weekend?
I'm gonna go do the Cone Killer Classic on Saturday, which is like 4 hours east of me, and then I'm doing a Toledo event on Sunday, which is like 2 hours west of me. So I'm gonna be driving around a lot, Tom, and then at some point I will do autocross runs.
Nice.
So
I'm debating going to an autocross on Sunday. There's a local at the place right by my parents' house, but I haven't decided yet. The site is really
Is that Traders?
mediocre. Traders World, yeah.
They seem to do good courses there. At least the one time I went.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't think the courses are. I don't think the lot is special, so the courses are whatever. It's pretty small, but they get like 150 people at that site, so you get like hardly any runs on this tiny little postage stamp. I'm a little like 1 foot out on the idea of going there. I guess I'm jaded now.
Yeah. Look, guys,
I'm a big Zenith driver. You know, I can't.
Yeah,
local
yeah.
autocrosses.
Look, Tom drives a GT3 RS for 1 week, and he can't even get this guy to drive around some cones. Oh my God. He got ruined. Look, Tom's just been driving GT3 RSs and playing Forza. And that's Tom's motorsports journey so far this year. You gotta go to the autocross event, Tom. You gotta.
I'll look up what it costs in the entry list and all.
Somebody reach out to Tom with a really fun car to drive, please.
Well, Richard had asked if I would drive his Miata with him at some point. That would be my first thought.
Okay, that's probably pretty fun.
A CST Miata. Yeah, they're like, if the value's not higher than a ZR1, I don't care to drive it. That's what Ryan just said. I only drive house valued cars now.
Yeah, if it's not a very comfortable house for an entire family worth of car, then Tom's not interested.
I did get an update from Dallas about when I went off. Remember I mentioned that I cracked one of the little plastic under tray panels?
Yeah.
He said it was like $60 for the new one and it bolted right on and it's fine. So I felt
that's not bad.
I felt some relief in like hearing the repair instead of just being like, well, I'm sorry I broke it. I hope it's not hard to fix.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Dave Marcus, he had his car, this was before one lap. He had his car at Road Atlanta and a car went off in front of him and threw rocks at him. And he like broke his AC condenser, like the AC condenser radiator.
Whoa.
And he was like, oh man, how much is this going to cost or whatever? Dude, it was like, I forget the exact amount, but like if it was a Porsche, it would have been thousands of dollars. This thing was like $100. Like it was like nothing. It was like, and I think they did the work themselves. So it was like super, super cheap to like actually fix. The perks of a Corvette valued a house is that it's made with budget parts. Let's go. Wait. Yeah. I think that's a perk.
It's the least they could do.
Yeah. So I had one other thing to say. I was supposed to on Saturday go to eat dinner with my dad, but it just didn't work out. We were going to do like a late Father's Day thing.
Mm-hmm.
At first I was going to drive with Peter and then I was like, oh, I'm going to go eat dinner with my dad. So I canceled with Peter and then my dad canceled on that. So then I tried to get back to drive with Peter, but Peter already filled the seat. So then I was scrambling for a seat today and I ended up in another CST GR86 that's blue. And so I'm going to be driving another blue GR86 on Saturday.
Nice. Wait, is Peter's blue?
Yeah. Wait, do you
I
not?
thought it was white.
What? No. Are you thinking?
I'm so much more excited to drive it now.
Are you thinking of the silver one? The D Street car? Because he just bought a different car.
Peter Snore. I thought Peter Snore's car was white.
No, it's that bright blue with the orange wheels. You've seen it. Have you not seen it?
Oh, hell yeah. I don't know why I didn't remember that. Okay, I'm so much more
I'm excited for you to drive it now. Yeah, Tom's driving it for the Finger Lakes tour, and I'm excited. Dude, CST looks kind of stacked. I wish we could have 3 drivers in CST. Because I really want you to drive the car.
You can drive it.
No. I'm gonna have fun in B Street, but CST looks freaking lit. Like that looks like a good time. I'm a little jelly. So, yeah, I'm driving with Justin King's GR86 on Saturday. and it's like basically the same car as Peter. So I found that kind of funny that I was like, oh no, I'm not going to get to drive Peter's car. Oh, I ended up in a car exactly like Peter's. Awesome.
Yeah. You guys should grid next to each other, make it
I
as
hope we do.
confusing as possible. You're gonna get in the
Oh.
wrong cars. Just drive away.
At some point, I'm going to switch the numbers around and then jump back in
Yeah.
Peter's car. All right.
Well, cool. Have fun.
I will. And you also have fun. You better go on Sunday. Okay. You want to, he rolls his eyes. All right. Do you want to carry us out of the podcast here, Tom?
Yeah, but I didn't think of any things.
Okay.
So I will try to at the last second. For everyone who asked a question this week, I love you here. I hope you win.